Welcome everybody to the Watchlist, your virtual TV guide where we talk about and review all the shows and movies released across all platforms of streaming. Very excited to be here. It's not a big week, but don't forget, in the show we are going to talk about all the stuff that's going to be coming out next week, and there's where the menu gets full, so you're able to set your watch list accordingly. Let me introduce, of course, my co-host. I'm never alone here on the watch list. We have, of course, live from Houston, the ambassador of all things love. It's Senor Jaime, aka Chewy. Welcome to the show.
Hey, brother, what's going on, man?
This is a light week this week. Couple of things to
A
talk about.
tad.
A
It's
tad,
been a
tad
light
light,
month. It's
but
been a
but
light
next,
month.
yeah, the next week is stacked. I think it is stacked. There's like at least 5, 6 shows coming out. We'll dive into that towards the end of the show. So let's get into it, man. You know, you should catch this and go watch some football afterwards. Playoffs in full swing here. Upset City apparently yesterday. Jesus. But that being
Defense
said,
City.
well,
Jesus.
defense. Yeah, I mean, Jesus. Can we score some points
Come
here for
on.
Christ's sake? Can anybody score
Oh.
points? A lot of snow, a lot of cold, not a lot of points being scored in NFL. What's going on here? But that's being said, let's get into it, Chewy. A couple of things to talk about. Of course, we'll always start with the movies that get released, and we had one came out on Netflix. That's Munich, The Edge of War. Jeremy Irons, the one notable name here in terms of acting and all that, and this actually has some good reviews going into it. So I'm like, all right, listen, I'm big on World War II stuff and Nazi shit, spy espionage and all that. And yeah, this one was I mean, yeah. But go, Chewy. Sorry, I know you're still watching the movie.
Oh. Whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa.
it's man, it's not based on a true story. It's fiction, of course, historical fiction as they call it now. The backdrop set of on real events, but the story itself is not. It's untrue. We have this American, I guess, civil servant and his German diplomat who had to be classmates back in the day. They kind of reunite to kind of share this document and prevent, from the war from happening, of course, against Adolf Hitler. It takes place 1938, so about a year before World War II breaks out, if I'm not mistaken. Right amongst some peace talks when they broke peace with Britain, of course, with Winston Churchill, which Jeremy Irons play, who's actually pretty good in the middle.
Chamberlain. Prime Minister Chamberlain.
I'm sorry,
Not
yeah,
Churchill.
Churchill, my bad. But yeah, so snooze fest, dude. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad
I
movie.
stopped. I turned it off. I fast forwarded, took it off my list, and I was done. It was just boring. It was
Yeah,
just utterly.
it
I
really
mean,
was an
that's it.
interesting idea, but it's executed. It's just so light. There's no tension. I think I saw the whole thing, but towards the last 15 minutes,
Sorry.
you get some tension in there. Yeah, and I figure I was all like, once you hit 45-minute
I
mark,
got
I'm in. I stick around.
no.
It is
I'm
what it
not.
is. I get it.
I'm not. I could easily fast forward and get it off.
I
Like
get it.
I
Listen,
am out.
I get. Sometimes things get better in the end. It could end well. Here it ended, as compared to how it started. It's just very lackluster. It's just not the characters aren't great. Besides Jeremy Irons, no one really stands out. And again, for being kind of an espionage kind of thing, trying to prevent, Hitler's, dream of conquering the world, it's very unexciting, and it should be quite the opposite, right? And just not a lot going on here on this one at all. It just is not a record. This falls in that, I won't say that 20% of shit movies that Netflix does, maybe 30%, but more in the, say, 50 to 60 mediocre range, but towards the bottom half of that range. We know about 10% of the movies are good. This is far from that. So disappointing. I was kind of looking forward to this one, but they did. The Nazis don't even get the comeuppance. I mean, come on now. That's what I tune in for. That's what I want to see. But none of that. It's very bland. It's very unsatisfactory. So not a recommend on Chewy. Obviously, so I'm pope with that. That being said, the other show or the major release, also on Netflix, of course, is part one of the final season, season 4 of Ozark, a very popular show, a show that we've really liked since the beginning.
Hmm.
Although we had issues with the third season, not great. It was good, but just wasn't up to snuff with what the first 2 gave us. So here we are. This is the end. We're coming to the end. I think the 7 episodes. This part
Yes.
1, and then I don't know how many part 2. They haven't announced the release date. I assume it's later this year, Chewy. I don't know. I think I've heard like August, something
Yeah,
like that.
it'd probably be another set. I think they broke up to 14 total, so 7 and 7.
So doing 7 and 7. Okay, so they're doing almost like a Money Heist kind of did, a few months ago
Hmm.
when that came out, doing a part 1, part 2, which was kind of worked. I think that was 5 episodes instead of 7. So that being said, here we go. We got Jason Bateman. Those who are familiar with, if you're not familiar with Ozark, obviously it's a crime family drama, right? This is Jason Bateman plays. He's a genius money launderer, and he's caught obviously laundering for the mob and all that. And he moves out to the
No, the
Ozarks, and
cartel, right?
the
Not the mob, the
cartel, right? The
cartel.
cartel, and things escalate, and he's trying to get his family out of it, and they're trying to keep him in, and danger everywhere. It's really good, really well told story. Chewy, how much have you got into this last season or the
I've
season four
seen
now?
2 episodes,
Okay,
but
I saw
I
three.
will say it's definitely a step up, back up to what we're used to with season 1 and season 2, as far as the tension, the story. And maybe now there's an end game, right? Or we see a light in the tunnel, so it's not going to go beyond this season, but definitely back up where we are accustomed to seeing this show.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's really good. It's more focused. I think last
Hmm.
season there's a lot of stuff going on,
Yeah.
and as a result, things I don't want to spoil anything for those who haven't seen it, but things occur to get a little bit more unrealistic, right, than we used to seeing from this show. This show is grounded in terms of the scenarios that come about and how he gets out of it, right? This isn't like
Yeah.
I'll mention Money Heist, right, where it's ridiculous, but it's a heist. We get it. Those things, it's plausible, but let's be real, it's not going to happen like that. But this show doesn't lean on that. It did in the third season a bit. This is more focused, man. Obviously, yeah, you're right. The end game's coming. Attention is back where it should be. The focus on just solely, family and the cartel, what's going on there, because that's really what the show's always been about.
Hmm.
And obviously, things are heading up. There's dissension amongst the cartel. What a shocker there. And these guys in the family, Bateman and his wife, trying to find their ways out
Distance
of
in the
it.
family.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the son, who I haven't been a big fan of, is actually I like what he's doing here, what they're making him do, with teaming up with Ruthie and all that. Is it Ruthie? Yeah, Ruthie. But it's really good, man. This is a really good show, man. I'm gonna be sad to say this one go. I really hope. Let me not say it because let's see how they stick the landing. Right? Are we gonna get Game of
That's the
Thrones here?
key. That's the
Right?
key.
That's the key. Do they stick the landing? Because I guess this show is gonna be relying on how the show ends. Any guesses? True. I mean, are they getting whacked here?
Everybody dies. Everyone gets hurt.
Uh, someone's going down. I think the wife
I
goes
don't know,
down. I
dude.
think the wife goes down and the son takes over.
Someone's going down. Well, obviously, well, spoilers. If you haven't seen the first episode of season 4, they start with a flash forward, or
They do.
present. That's how you look at it. And
I
so
think that's
obviously
the
the
ending of this
family
season.
is
Of
involved in a major car accident, and they make a comment saying they're 2 days away. We're obviously working with the API, which they've been doing since last season,
right.
on their end game. But they mentioned that 2 days, just 48 more hours, and they're out. And then they all of a sudden go get into a major car accident, and then now we get the flashback.
Which is not a trope I like. We've seen all the time.
Yeah.
They left. We're almost free, or a week before I retire. We've seen that 1,000 times, and we know what happens when that occurs, right? It's like you're telling your loved one, "I love you." You're not coming back alive. That's how it works.
I
So,
know.
right. So hopefully they kind of avert that trope. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking that's how the first part of the season is going to end. I'm guessing anyway.
Uh,
That's what I'm guessing.
yeah, yeah,
As far
yeah.
as
Who knows?
the first part, that's going to end with that first scene of the first episode. But listen, this is a really good show. Even season 3, we're kind of talking shit about it, but it's not a bad season at all. It's just not, we're used to getting a certain level.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah, the
it
expectations
comes
are there.
back.
Yeah,
Things happen with certain shows. Not all shows can excel season after
yeah, it's
season, year
hard.
after year.
Yeah, it's hard to do that.
Especially we start getting into year 3, year 4, year 5. It's very difficult to sustain that level of excellence, right? Very few the greats do it, right?
Yeah, it's not common.
The Breaking Bad,
True.
Game of Thrones until season
Game of Thrones
6,
for a while was,
The
yeah,
Expanse.
yes.
But they're not. But some shows will go. Obviously, it depends on their duration. Some will, the longer the show, the more likely you get that peak and valley. As far as they can still maintain a certain level, but it'll come back and go back. So it depends on, as they change
Right.
showrunners, they change writers. Who's directing it,
It's about
who's in
it's
charge.
about the consistency at the end of the day, and it happened a lot of shows. Even like one like just ended recently, Dexter was like that. It was very high super high the first 4 seasons, and it was up and down the last 3 or 4.
Didn't end
Yeah.
great as far as a lot of complaints on the last season.
Right.
But I mean, if you came back to this season, I think they picked it back to where it should have, and at least to that level of consistency of what was known for.
Right, exactly. So, like I said, this is all going to hinge on how this ends. Even this first part, it's not going to tell us the full story because we still got another 7 episodes, whenever that is. But yeah, this one show, if you haven't seen this, is really, it was one of Netflix's best shows, I think, personally, since Netflix has been on, as far as consistency and all that. So, yeah, this is one I think we both recommend highly. But that's it. Those are the 2 big releases this week. So, a very short week. So, there's no time to catch up on prior shows. Whether it be The Expanse or whatever the case is, one that ended last week.
Still stuck with the X-Men.
So,
Finished the book, by the way.
oh, you finished. Oh,
I finished the book.
there
Yeah,
was three, right? At least
Leviathan Falls, the book 9 of the series.
everybody dies.
So started with Leviathan Wakes and ended with Leviathan Falls.
Oh, there you go.
You know, draw your own conclusions.
I figured for those who know Expanse, will know what we're talking about. But yeah, you should know what that is if you do watch the show. But look, listen, that coming up next week is a busy weekend. Luckily, I have a very free weekend next weekend because I'm busy on Friday and Saturday, apparently, based on the work on the load that we got here. So, Chu, we take turns talking about some of the stuff coming out. First of all, on TNT, which is a word that I never uttered on this show for good reason because it's TNT. Let's keep it real. But there is a show called Snowpiercer. The third season dropping on the 24th, which I believe is on Monday or Tuesday.
Monday.
Yeah, Monday. We're gonna get heavy into the show next week as far as why you should or should not be watching it. But of those who are watching it now, obviously there's a heads up to you guys that hey, the season is right around the corner, literally. So we'll talk detail on this show next week, Chewy.
The big question: will Sean Bean finally die?
With Sean Bean, it's inevitable. He's gonna tell someone I love you, he ain't coming back, or he's got one more day before he retires.
It's funny. A side note, quick. I started watching. I just put on Lord of the Rings trilogy on HBO Max. I just put it on just to watch it again, right? Maybe to get hyped up for the new show. But man, Sean Bean looks so young, man. It's like I look at that movie, I look at him now, I was like, they must have done some makeup, some de-aging stuff. It just looked right.
Oh, good. I love Sean Bean. Sean Bean's that guy from that thing. We all know who Sean Bean is. Look him up. He's actually really good in Snowpiercer, by the way. But again, we'll deep dive into that show and all that because only one episode is going to drop. It's a weekly show because it's TNT.
Yes.
I go with TNT. It's very hard to say those three letters on this channel. But it is what it is. So the next one on the 27th, I believe, could be 26th. I think it's 27th. It's on
26. I think you're talking about Sci-Fi.
Yeah, Sci-Fi, exactly.
Another channel we don't mention.
Another channel that shall not be named on this. We're making a couple of exceptions here, and I don't see the show, but so I'm gonna let you take lead on this one. Of course, that's Resident Alien. What is Resident Alien?
Resident Alien is a comedy or dramedy. Starring Alan Tudyk. So he's been in Firefly. He was the voice of STO4 or whatever it is on the Rogue One movie. He's I guess a sci-fi icon. He's been in so many things, right? Funny guy. It's a very funny show. Braces says he's an alien, crash lands on Earth. His mission is they gotta destroy the Earth. But he becomes human, right? He takes over someone's body, and he appears human to everyone except for some young kids who see him as his true form, the alien form. And throughout the story, he has a change of heart, right? But it's just all the shenanigans that are ongoing because he's an alien trying to be human, pretending to be human, and the hijinks that result from that and the relationship, and obviously the bigger picture of he still has a mission that someone's trying to destroy the Earth.
Oh, yeah.
But it's very funny. It's got heart. It's if you enjoy Alan Tudyk humor and the way he is, and you've heard his voice, you know what to expect, and it's a very fun show.
Yeah, I love Alan Tudyk, and I heard good things about the show. It's sci-fi, so it's just I rarely venture out into the regular cable channels, on network TV.
I felt the same way. Then I was like, when I got Peacock, let me put it on. I'm like, oh wow, this is funny. This is good.
No, I heard it's good. I heard it's good. It's just it's one of those I have to wait to a lull in the season like we had this last few weeks to go back and watch something like that. And I'm sure that's going to happen eventually. February is not exactly the biggest month either for releases.
No, there's a lot of this month in February. You'd be surprised.
That's gonna have to wait then. Sorry, sci-fi. The next one, we're in Netflix. A regular. I show Netflix. We use that word all the time in this show. I'm very happily. It's an Italian show called Framed, which comes out on the 27th, which is this coming Thursday. This one, I believe, is an Italian show I mentioned, but it's about two guys who get, I guess, caught up.
Excuse me.
Yeah, excuse me. In a murder, but it's a murder, or whatever the case is, and then they're trying to. Not get a pinned on them, and I guess they're
murder mystery involving the Italian mob,
right?
And the two guys,
right? Yeah, okay. Two regular schmoes, I guess. Yeah, they didn't specify. It's supposed to be a comedy. I didn't get. I saw a little bit of the trailer. I don't to watch too much of the trailer. Just caught a quick glimpse, and I wasn't high on it, so I don't know what to think of this. But I'm gonna give it a shot.
I want to check it out. I'm gonna give it a shot. I saw there was a previous Italian show that I watched last summer that had I can't remember what it was called, but it was one that interjected growing up in the '90s and
Yes, good show. I know what you're
remember
talking
that?
about.
Remember that one it was? That was funny show.
Ah, man, I can't remember the
And
name of the show, but yeah, I know what you're
yeah,
talking about. Yeah, Italian TV doesn't jump off the page, not like maybe some Spanish shows or Korean shows. But no, I'm gonna give it a shot. Let's see. I mean, it comes out on Thursday, so I get to watch it. Nothing else is on Thursday, so I may watch 1 or 2 episodes and get a vibe and see if it's worth continuing to watch it. But let's see. Another one, Netflix again. This one I'm very excited about. Chewy not as much, but I'm sure. Well, I don't think so. And that's All of Us Are Dead, a Korean show. It's gonna fly on the radar here. It's our
the Korean zombie
Korea
show.
Zombies, takes place in a high school, and the reason why I'm excited because I'm a big zombie guy, but Netflix has done well in this genre, right? And a couple of shows I mentioned in particular, because you're not big into zombie stuff, but you've liked shows like Black Summer, right?
Black Summer,
And
The
Kingdom,
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 which is a Korean, which is I guess more directly related because it's Korean with the same subject matter, but that was set in the feudal history feudal
right?
system, which I added that wrinkle, something new.
Exactly.
Um,
And those shows are really good, and you've enjoyed those. They've done really well with that genre, giving us, especially those two shows, a different presentation on the old zombie tropes, right? We know what zombie shows are
mhm.
generally
I mean,
about.
if you've seen Train to Busan, which again another Korean zombie,
Great, man.
which is
Yeah.
zombies on a train, then I think you know what to expect with this show.
Exactly.
At least, good or bad.
Yeah, and it's I mean, I love Train to Busan. A lot of people do. It's a very popular movie amongst the niche of the zombie lovers and whatever the case, fans of that kind of genre. So this looks very interesting. That comes out on 28th. I'm very excited about that one, so I'll be checking that out. Another one, Chewy, tell me about this one. It's on Apple Plus, a show we don't mention a lot in the channel. We do mention it a lot more in TNT. That's called The After Party, starring Tiffany Haddish. I think Dave
Haddish,
Franco's in
yes,
this as well.
yep,
So
that's right.
what is After Party anyway?
You know what? I haven't seen the trailer, but I think this is I want to say murder mystery involving obviously an after party, obviously, but
Well,
with a little bit of comedy in there. I mean, Tiffany Haddish is not a dramatic thespian any stretch of the imagination,
fair.
and so I'm gonna check it out and see it. If it's worthy, right? I mean, it's got a good lineup of A and B list, and maybe some C list actors as well and comedians. But that's the premise, and Apple has a slew of shows coming out this spring, which I put on the list, which we'll get into, in the coming weeks. But this is the first one due out, and so let's see.
Okay, so this is kind of see if you can compete with something like Only Murders in the Building. It's on Hulu, another comedy, murder mystery
I
comedy.
don't,
I mean, I'm not saying it's
I
going to be
don't get
that.
that vibe.
And
I
I don't
think
know if
this
it's
is
something
more,
along those lines,
yeah.
but just turns just you think
Mate,
comedy, murder
if it's along
mystery.
those lines, great. I
Oh
mean,
no,
because we
hell yeah,
love
yeah,
murders in the building,
absolutely, that show's
murderers in the building.
yeah, the
So
show's
hopefully
fantastic.
it's in that along that
I
line.
hope
But
so. I
we'll
hope
wait
so.
and see.
Yeah, it's got 3 episodes dropping on the 28th, so I'll probably catch a couple
Mhm.
of them, maybe all three. Depends on how it is, because I'm really curious about that
I,
one.
I'm get I get more of a Clue vibe too,
So that
right?
could be
With
good or
because
bad. I mean, listen,
one cast and a location, and then it
right.
spirals from there.
I like Tiffany Haddish. She's hit or miss, but when she's on, she's on. I like Dave Franco, but he can't carry something by himself. I never see him do that. So I'm curious. Apple Plus, listen, we know it's gonna look
We'll
good.
see.
Nothing
We'll
else.
see.
Apple Plus, at least the production is gonna be there. I don't know whatever the case is. The last one, Netflix, again on the 28th. So we got three shows on the 28th. And that's In From the Cold. It's another series, and this one here is for those. It's just the premise has been done 1,000 times. It's like kind of Born Identity meets Atomic Blonde, right? We got a woman, she's a mother, and apparently, unbeknownst to her, she was actually a spy, and she's been captured and awakened, and she's an assassin rather, and she's the top assassin apparently, and she's kind of thrown back into the mix. It was one of those action kind of shows, very Born Ultimatum ish. That's a good thing, I guess. Atomic Blonde, that could be a good thing depending what it is. Chewy, this get your interest?
Yeah, actually, it does. I think this is. I'm not sure if it's an English show. It might be an international show.
I believe it's English. I
Uh,
believe. I got it
is
back.
it
Yeah,
okay?
I believe.
All right. Well,
I
I
may be
can't
wrong.
remember from the trailer if it was subtitles or I heard different languages. But she has a little bit. I mean, it's a little bit of extra human power, I believe, if I remember correctly, or it was just it just.
I think she's. I'm not sure. I think she's just the super spy badass. She kicks a lot of ass. I mean, she could.
Yeah.
She could not.
I
Yeah.
think there's more than just the super
There,
spy.
there
I
could be
think
something
what
there.
it's a, yeah,
Something there, obviously,
yeah,
and why.
some sort of augmentation, right?
Right, and why she
That
doesn't remember who she was
yeah,
and what's going on. So, seeing a lot of stuff. I mean, looks like a good action show. I'm
looks
curious about this one.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, this could
we'll
be.
check it out.
I could see this being a worse. Eh. At worst, I don't see. I didn't get the
Like I said,
vibes.
if I don't like it, I'll skip and take it off the list. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
exactly. We'll
simple.
catch a
That's
couple.
what we're here for.
Exactly. We'll catch a couple episodes and let you know whether you should add it to your list or not. Because I am curious about this. We got about this show, but so we got 6 shows. That's a lot coming out this week. So we have a busy. We're busy next week and a busy next week's show on the watch list. So, but there we go, Chewy. That's what we have for this week. We appreciate you guys watching. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, share, etc. Don't forget to catch Nurse Planning here on every Thursday, of course. And Chewy, been a pleasure as always. Looking forward to a busy Friday and Saturday of TV watching, apparently. And you guys have a good one. Peace out.
Peace.